Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. My name is Dustin. Welcome to Dustin's Dynasty. We're here with another edition of this week's vlog. If you haven't been following me for a while, I'm autistic. I'm a few weeks shy of 40, and I've been doing this autism thing for over 25 years. I've been living on my own for over 6 years, and I've had a part-time job for 15 years now. This week, we're going to talk about emotional control. And, this week has been a wave of emotions. Not, I am doing well, but sometimes, our thoughts and our words as autistic people get in the way. And sometimes we say things without applying our filter, so to speak. And this can be said a lot for people who can verbally speak, who are speaking. And when we don't think about our words and how we use them, sometimes we don't realize how they hurt others, or we don't really put a full grasp on the situation at hand. Sometimes we don't realize we don't have control of a situation. Sometimes we don't realize that, we, as much as we want to control a situation, it's just not possible. And there is a reality that sometimes we have to watch what we say and what we do and learn how to cope with our emotions better. Sometimes if there was a real sign in life that said, Dustin, put your headphones on, that might help. But in instances this past week, it is not. And for reality's sakes, I wish there was a sign that said that, so that I knew either to step away when the opportunity provided itself, or just not say nothing and do what I needed to do to get myself out of that situation. This week at day services, my next step will be to find better coping skills and tactics to work at finding those coping skills, so that those heated things aren't said and acted upon. Sometimes that has happened to me many times over the years, where I don't process what I'm thinking, or I don't realize how it affects others, or the whole picture behind a situation. And I would automatically act on these perceived thoughts, or what I thought I wanted controlled, but I couldn't have controlled. And in reality, it just wasn't. I didn't see that it was. I knew deep down it wasn't possible, or that there were other healthier ways to do things. And sometimes I paid the price for that. Sometimes I've not. Sometimes, the autism card has been thrown up against it. And, I don't want to be the one as an autistic person to say, oh, the autism made me do it, because that's just not who I am. And a lot of the things that emotionally I struggle with at times, when when I become frustrated or experience emotions about things, some things can't be controlled. But honestly, what really needs to be done about the situation is that I need to be kind and give myself and others grace about it, because maybe they didn't want to be in that situation either. Or, maybe, it's just maybe I'm not seeing the whole picture. And, it doesn't, like we say, it doesn't cost anything to be kind to somebody. But in an emotional raging thought that's sometimes hard to control, when things don't work for themselves, we don't think about those things. We don't take the time as autistic people. We want what provides us relief and solace and comfort from a situation. But in reality, that same situation could backfire on us and make it more difficult than what we're experiencing. And we don't see that sometimes. And it doesn't realize the effects of our words that we use, and how people preview us or think about us, or may have a feeling about us, or we don't even realize how much the damaging words that we're using hurt other people or make other people feel, especially when we as autistic people are often sidelined and bullied and things of that nature, to where we want to fit in too. But at the same time, and at least it's me, as my words, because of how I'm feeling, or however that may be, that I feel like I can spew this verbal garbage and get away with it. It's just not fair to the other party, and that doesn't make me look as the person that generally 90% of the population that knows me would believe who I was. But in reality, I know I need to do better this week and not let my emotions get in the way, and indeed work on those coping skills so that I can find a better way to manage my feelings of frustration and anger and reality of understanding, you can't have everything your way. Everything can't be the way you want it, and you can't get away with everything, and you can't answer the what ifs of life. You just have to go with the punches sometimes. And whether you agree with them or you don't, that's just how it's going to be. Yes, there's going to be situations in your life that's going to be challenging and hard. And believe me, I have experienced those in this month, and it's not easy. And there are moments when it is down and out, but I overcome it and I become better because of it. And there's been a lot of experiences I've had to witness this week where people have had tragic situations happen, and you don't understand how words and actions really affect other people until you see it in real time, and how the reality really hurts people sometimes. And the reality is I want to be here as long as I can live. And sometimes I really get hurtful on myself because I'm going to be 40 in a few weeks, but wouldn't I want to make the rest of my life a better outlook for me, that rather than make it a misery for everybody? Because these last few years, you know, they have been a misery. Even if you say, well, I wasn't medicated or whatever, and but it doesn't medication isn't the end all one all. Sometimes you have to do the work too to keep your emotions in check and not allow the dark stuff to come across and hurt other people or make other people feel less than what you are. I've had those feelings, and I feel really, now that I see it that way, I really feel really upset about that. And it really really struck a chord with me. It's not who I really am in the outside world, or who I pretend to be. Reality sets in, and you have to do what's right. And even though things may be inconvenient or may cause sensory challenges, you learn to work with them and make them better for you. It's not, you can't get everything you want. You can't, you know, life's not an end all catch all. And yet, yes, being autistic isn't easy sometimes. It brings its own set of challenges. Add your mental health challenges. You've got all sorts of challenges out there. But overall, you have to keep your emotions in control. We know, autism can be perceived so negatively out there in the world, and especially when there's meltdowns out there. And I've had my share of meltdowns over the years, and I don't ever want anyone in the public eye to ever see that, nor should I expect that of my family members who have taken a lot of the brunt of my negativity as I dish it out because of what I'm feeling. And even though sometimes my reasons are valid, it doesn't make it fair on them. It doesn't make it right, to dish out my anger and my feelings, especially when they're having their own issues to deal with too. And sometimes you don't see it for what it is, but I'm starting to see it, and I know I have to do better. So, that's my intention this week, is to work better on my emotional control so that, I'm not this person that I don't like about myself and that I hide from many people, or that I think I allow myself to think negatively about them and be like, it's like a two-edged sword. So my goal is to be kind to everyone this week and be mindful of my emotional control. So I want to thank you for listening. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Pinterest. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. And lastly, I'm on Linktree. That handle is Dustin's Dynasty. Again, I'm going to thank you for listening. Let's work on having a good week. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.